Of the 9 people preparing for today's show, only one could win up to £10,000. The other 8 will be sent away with nothing because their own teammates vote them the weakest link.
Welcome to the weakest link. Any of the 9 people in the studio today could win up to £10,000. They don't know each other, however, if they want the prize money, they'll have to work as a team. But 8 of them will leave with nothing, as round by round we lose the player voted the weakest link. Let's meet the team.
I'm Kate, I'm 43, from Alton, Hampshire, and I'm a secretary.
I'm Sue, I'm 38, from Hitchin in Hertfordshire. I'm an accountant and a childminder.
I'm Helen, I'm 29, I'm from the Isle of Wight, and I'm a sales executive.
I'm John, 54, and a finance broker from Morecambe.
Omar, 30, from South London. I'm a retail systems manager.
I'm Stuart, I'm 24, I'm from Oxford, and I'm an editor on encyclopedias.
I'm Sarah, I'm 29, and I'm a clerical officer from Sheffield.
I'm Martin, I'm a 33-year-old drag queen from Ireland.
I'm Roy, 62, from Rowley Regis in the West Midlands, and I'm a psychologist.
Now, the rules. In each round, the aim is to answer enough questions correctly to reach your £1,000 target within the time limit. The fastest way is to create a chain of 9 correct answers. Get your question wrong and you break the chain and lose all the money in that chain. But if you say bank before the question is asked, the money is safe. However, you start a new chain from 0. Remember, at the end of the round, only money that has been banked can be taken forward. In the first round, you get 3 minutes. We'll start with the person whose name is first alphabetically. That's you, Helen. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Helen, who was elected as the London Mayor in May of this year?
Ken Livingstone.
Correct. John, which sport takes place in a velodrome?
Cycling.
Correct. Omar, which classical composer wrote The Messiah?
Pass.
Handel. Stuart, who was the puppet master behind Emu?
Rod Hull.
Correct. Sarah, how many sets of pedals does a tandem bicycle have?
2.
Correct. Martin, which country singer owns a theme park named Dollywood?
Dolly Parton.
Correct. Roy,
Bank.
what is the highest waterfall in the world?
The Angel Falls.
Correct. Kate, what sea is the generic term for a hard-shelled aquatic animal?
Crustacean.
Correct. Sue, as used in watches, what do the initials LCD stand for?
Liquid crystal display.
Correct. Helen, which war-torn Lebanese city was divided by the Green Line until 1990?
Beirut.
Correct. John,
Bank.
in the USA, Red Delicious is the best-selling variety of which fruit?
Apple.
Correct. Omar, how many days are there in a leap year?
365 and a quarter.
366. I'm sorry, I have to take your first answer. The correct answer is 366. Stuart, the foot of which animal was traditionally carried for luck?
A rabbit.
Correct. Sarah, which Dickens novel is set in the revolutionary France?
Pass.
A Tale of Two Cities. Martin, what A is the fossilized resin of trees?
Amber.
Correct. Roy, the Sopwith camel and the tiger moth were types of what?
Aeroplane.
Correct.
Bank.
Kate, what kind of plant...
Bank. Sorry.
Yes? What kind of plant is the prickly pear?
Cactus.
Correct. Sue, in cookery, what colour is the food colouring tartrazine?
It's an orangey yellow.
Well, it's yellow, but I'll accept it. Helen, Shaznay Lewis is a singer in which British girl band?
All Saints.
Correct. John, do stalagmites grow upwards or downwards?
Downwards.
Upwards. Omar, what is the currency of Germany?
Mark. The German
Correct.
mark.
Deutschmark. Stuart, who is presenter Lisa Tarbuck's comedian father?
Jimmy Tarbuck.
Correct. Sarah,
Bank.
Robert the Bruce is famous for winning independence for which country?
England.
Scotland. Martin, who broke up with Elizabeth Hurley in May of this year?
Richard E. Grant.
No, Hugh Grant. Roy, which word for a collection of maps was first used by a 16th century Flemish cartographer?
Atlas.
Correct.
Bank. Oh, sorry.
For £20, Kate, who in pop music sang Oops, I Did It Again?
Britney Spears.
Correct. Sue, a borzoi is what type of animal?
It's a dog.
Correct.
Bank.
Helen, which area of Spain has a name meaning savage coast?
Costa Brava.
The answer is Costa Brava. You did well to bank before because I can't accept it. It was after the time was up. And team, you banked £470. You fell short of the £1,000 target. Well short. Somebody's hindering your progress very, very badly. One of you is about to leave with nothing. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Statistically, Omar is the weakest link. He answered the least questions correctly and failed to bank any money, although John lost the team the most money in that round. But how will the players vote?
OK, pens down, voting over. Please reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Omar.
John.
Omar.
Omar.
Sue.
Omar.
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 Stuart. Why Omar?
Too many wrong.
Sarah. Why Omar?
Hesitation. We can't waste time.
Martin. Not fond of popular culture? Think Liz Hurley's married to Richard E. Grant?
I was thinking too much of Divine.
Omar, with 7 votes against you, you are our first weakest link. Goodbye.
I did not settle at all. I'm very disappointed with my performance. I think if I had settled, I would have done a lot better. A lot of the questions I knew that I failed. Example, the number of days in Libya.
Round 2. You've won £470 so far. You could have a possible £1,000. We are now taking 10 seconds off the clock. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Roy. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Roy, which sportsman, in spite of Parkinson's disease, lit the Olympic flame at the Atlanta Olympics?
Pass.
Muhammad Ali. Kate, which type of 5-line poem was made popular by Edward Lear?
Limerick.
Correct. Sue, Kenneth Starr was a special prosecutor who investigated President Clinton's relationship with whom?
Monica Lewinsky.
Correct. Helen, which is the highest scoring ball in snooker?
The black.
Correct. John, which Swedish word is used for an official who investigates complaints against public bodies?
Ombudsman.
Correct. Stuart, what do the letters SPF stand for on sunscreen products?
Sun protection factor.
Correct. Sarah,
Bank.
what was Picasso's first name?
Pablo.
Correct. Martin, which word is used to describe land frozen to great depths for several years?
Pass.
Permafrost. Roy, who was the last British governor of Hong Kong?
Patton.
Chris Patton, correct. Kate, which instrument is played by the leader of an orchestra?
Violin.
Correct. Sue, where are the medieval streets, the Shambles and Stonegate, a popular attraction? Chester or York?
York.
Correct. Helen, in food, what is tofu made from?
Soya.
Correct. John,
Bank.
what is the name of the patron saint of Scotland?
St Andrew.
Correct. Stuart, was Princess Beatrice or Princess Eugenie born first?
Beatrice.
Correct. Sarah, what is the name of actor Warren Beatty's wife?
Anne Hetch.
Annette Bening. Martin, who wrote the novel 3 Men in a Boat?
Don't know.
Jerome K. Jerome. Roy, what type of animal has a breed called humpbacked?
Camel.
Whale. Kate, what nationality was the chef on The Muppet Show?
French.
Swedish. Sue, Of which European country is Queen Beatrix the current monarch?
Norway.
The Netherlands. Helen. Who painted the Mona Lisa?
Leonardo da Vinci.
Correct. John, if you were born on the 1st of December, what star sign would you be?
Oh, Sagittarius.
Correct. Stuart, the triathlon combines running, swimming and which other sport?
I don't know.
Cycling. Sarah, which bodily function is sometimes called sternutation?
Smiling.
Sneezing. Martin, what nationality was 19th century actress Sarah Bernhardt?
American.
French. Roy, in which town is the centre of Britain's intelligence gathering network known as GCHQ?
Cheltenham.
Correct. Kate, which physicist revealed his theory of special relativity in 1905?
Einstein?
Well, the time is up. Einstein is the correct answer. And team, you didn't make it to £1,000, but you did bank 500, an improvement. Who would it help to get rid of? Vote off, please, the weakest link.
With the most questions wrong, Martin is the weakest link statistically. The strongest link is John, who answered all his questions correctly and managed to bank £200. But will the team have taken this in?
OK, pens down, voting over. It's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
John.
Martin.
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 Kate.
Martin.
John.
Martin.
Sarah, why Martin?
He got his questions wrong, but they were hard.
Thanks, Sarah.
You didn't do all that well, did you?
No.
Now, Kate, you thought that John was the weakest link, did you?
Yes.
Now, let's just go through this. You got 2 right and 1 wrong, and John got 3 right and none wrong.
You didn't bank.
Were you somewhere else during that round?
I think I probably was, Anne.
Yes, because he actually banked £200.
Right.
Martin,
I wish I was somewhere else, actually.
if you do want to be elsewhere, that's quite handy. Because Martin, with 5 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
When the first card went up, it wasn't my name, it was John, so I thought, ooh. But then there was a complete run of 3 Martins, and then we had another name, I think it was Kate, so I was quite hopeful that I might even just hang in there, even though I was the weakest link. But my heart sank, because if I could have written your own name, I would have written it, actually, because I knew I hadn't done very well, and it makes you feel a bit, your heart's down in your boots. I think Sarah could be voted off next, because she was struggling with a couple of the questions.
Round 3. You've won £970 so far out of a possible £2,000. You're down to 7 players. We're taking another 10 seconds off the clock. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's John. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. John, which singer starred in the film Summer Holiday and the Young Ones?
Cliff Richard.
Correct. Stuart. The Montgolfier brothers were the French pioneers of what form of transport?
Ballooning. Hot air ballooning.
Correct. Sarah. In the Hindu religion, is the god Shiva or the god Vishnu known as the protector?
Vishnu.
Correct. Roy.
Bank.
Who replaced Barry Norman as the BBC's chief film critic?
Jonathan Ross.
Correct. Kate. Which European city was divided by a wall built in 1961?
Berlin.
Correct. Sue. From what country does the fabric denim originate?
From France.
Correct. Helen. In what profession did David Kidd Jensen and Bruno Brooks first come to fame?
Disc jockeys.
Correct. John,
Bank.
according to the for £20, according to the saying, if a cat has lost 3 lives, how many does it have left?
6.
Correct. Stuart, which king signed the Magna Carta?
King John.
Correct. Sarah, the Dell is the home ground of which English Premiership football club?
Chelsea.
Southampton. Roy, what nationality was legendary hero William Tell?
Swiss.
Correct. Kate, what name links a womble with the main town on the island of Mull?
Kintyre.
Tobermory. Sue, complete the title of this Oasis album. What's the story?
Tobermory.
Morning Glory. Helen, according to superstition, what, in addition to something old, something new and something blue, should a bride wear?
Something borrowed.
Correct. John, in which film does Tom Cruise play Navy fighter pilot Pete Mitchell?
Young Guns.
Top Gun. Stuart, which Indian city is associated with the black hole?
Calcutta.
Correct. Sarah, name the first British Prime Minister.
Pass.
Sir Robert Walpole. Roy, what suspect in the game of Cluedo holds a military rank?
Colonel Sanders.
Colonel Mustard. Kate, in Christianity, Jesus' crucifixion is commemorated on which day?
Good Friday.
Correct. Sue, in which county is Sandringham?
Wiltshire.
Norfolk. Helen, which Tory politician was forced to resign from the cabinet after his affair with Sarah Keyes in 1983?
Parkinson.
Cecil Parkinson. John,
Bank.
the final game of the American football season is known as what?
Pass.
The Super Bowl. Stuart, who wrote the play Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead?
Tom Stoppard.
Correct. Sarah,
Bank.
if you left for Paris by train from Waterloo, which specific station would you arrive at?
Waterloo.
Time is up. The answer is Gare du Nord. It's a good job you banked. And that £1,000 goes unclaimed again. You won just £340 on that round. Someone is not paying their way. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Sue only got one question right and didn't bank any money for the team. That makes her the weakest link statistically. Meanwhile, Sarah lost the team the most money. But will the voting follow the facts?
OK, pens down, voting over. It's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Sarah.
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 Kate.
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 I'm sorry, but Sarah.
You mustn't apologise, Roy. Now, Sue, do you think you've got the hang of this game?
Yes, but I was on a rhyme. I know what you're thinking of.
Yeah, because you see, there are no points to be gained by answering your question with the reply from the last question, even if it rhymes. Yeah.
It was the first thing that came into my head.
Was it? Well, sometimes it's wise to say the second thing that comes into your head, Sue.
Yes, I think so.
Why Sarah did you vote for her?
She got at least 2 questions wrong, and the one that she didn't answer at the end would have been wrong as well.
You thought she was the weakest link?
I did.
Yeah. She wasn't, of course, Sue. Because you were the weakest link.
Really?
Statistically. But it's not about statistics, it's about votes. Sarah, with 4 votes, the team have voted you the weakest link. Goodbye.
That's not fair. The weakest link voted me off. Anne told her she was the weakest link. When Anne says goodbye, the lights go off, you feel gutted. And when you walk past all the other contestants, you feel really annoyed that they voted you off. You should still be there. I think Kate will go out in the next round. She got almost as many votes as me, and she's still there.
Round 4. Team, you've put away £1,310. That's out of potential prize money of £3,000. There are 6 of you left. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Stuart. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Stuart, what ex-Take That member had a #1 hit with Millennium?
Robbie Williams.
Correct. Roy, in which event did Zola Budd famously collide with Mary Decker at the 1984 Olympics?
Running.
The 3,000 metres. Kate, in which George Orwell novel was Winston Smith the central character?
1984.
Correct. Sue, in TV, what was Doctor Who's time-travelling phone box known as?
The TARDIS.
Correct. Helen, which continent are piranha fish native to?
South America.
Correct. John, complete the title of this Juliet Stevenson, Alan Rickman film, Truly Madly.
Lovely Deeply.
The answer
Madly
is deeply. Stuart, in which sport might you use a mashie niblick?
I have no idea.
Golf. Roy, in which book does the future Edward VI change places with a beggar boy?
Pass.
The Prince and the Pauper. Kate, which government department is Jack Straw in charge of?
Home Office.
Correct. Sue, in a basketball team, what's the maximum number of players on the court at any one time?
6.
5. Helen, in photography, what do the letters SLR stand for?
I don't know.
Single lens reflex. John, what amount of money does the slang term a monkey refer to?
£25.
£500. Stuart, which American actor played J.R. Ewing in Dallas?
I don't know.
Larry Hagman. Roy, what was the nationality of the painter Rembrandt?
Dutch.
Correct. Kate, Helios was the ancient Greek god of what?
The sun.
Correct. Sue, what was the name of the German airship that crashed in flames as it came into land at Lakehurst, New Jersey in 1937?
Hindenburg.
Correct. Helen, in France, who is known as Le Père Noël?
Father Christmas.
Correct. John,
Bank.
what do you habitually grind if you suffer from bruxism?
Your teeth.
Correct. Stuart, in food, which dish of Arab origin consists of deep-fried balls of ground chickpeas with onions, peppers and spices?
Falafel.
Correct. Roy, what is the name given to an area in a desert where there is water?
Oasis.
Correct. Kate,
Bank.
which Hollywood cowboy actor starred in The Man with No Name and The Outlaw Josie Wales?
Clint Eastwood.
Correct.
Bank.
Sue, what type of pastime is the samba?
It's a dance.
Correct. Helen,
Bank.
which famous 19th century ship is now dry docked in Greenwich?
Cutstock.
Well banked, because your time was up, but it was the correct answer. OK, with £1,000 to aim at, you won 340. Who's the burden you can do without? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
The statistics show that John is the weakest link with the most wrong answers. Kate, with the most questions correct, is the strongest link. But will the team have realised that?
OK, pens down, voting over. It's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Stuart.
John.
John.
Sue.
John.
Sue.
Helen, why John?
I think that the hesitation was one of the primary factors to this. I know he did bank quite a lot of money for us, so that was his saving grace, I suppose. But unfortunately, ruthlessness prevails.
So, that Alan Rickman, Juliet Stevenson film,
I was thinking too deeply.
not a good idea. 3 votes, John. You're the weakest link. Goodbye.
Well, I think I had one bad round, and obviously that's fresh in their memories. What they forget is that earlier on I was one of the strongest links. It can be savage. I think particularly what you remember is that people are saying, oh, I don't really want to get you off, but I have done. And they do. I think it's fairly certain that Sue would go next. I mean, she's just stayed in by 1 vote, so I think they will remember that in the next round.
Round 5. By now, you could have won £4,000. Your total, though, is 1,650. Another 10 seconds coming off the time. We start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Kate. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Kate, which race did Captain Keith Brown fail to start properly in 1993?
The Grand National.
Correct. Sue, Mick Hucknall is the lead singer in which pop band?
I can't remember.
Simply Red. Helen, who played the cross-dressing lead in the film Tootsie?
Dustin Hoffman.
Correct. Stuart, which genetic blood disease did the son of Tsar Nicholas II suffer from?
Haemophilia.
Correct. Roy, what kind of building is the Duomo in Florence?
It's a picture gallery.
It's a cathedral. Kate, Jeremy Bates and Joe Dury were leading British names in which sport in the 80s?
Running.
Tennis. Sue, what was Princess Diana's middle name?
Francis.
Correct. Helen, who returned to the Cabinet last year to become Secretary of State for Northern Ireland?
Chris Patten.
Peter Mandelson. Stuart, what colour gloves do snooker referees wear?
White.
Correct. Roy, what term meaning rebirth describes the Cultural Revolution in Europe in the 15th and 16th centuries?
Renaissance.
Correct. Kate, in which area of the arts were Joe Orton and John Osborne leading names in the 50s and 60s?
Writing. Playwriting.
Correct.
Thanks.
Sue, what are used to differentiate the years of a Chinese calendar?
Animals.
Correct. Helen, which planet was discovered in 1930?
Pluto.
Correct. Stuart, what is the name of the tower of a mosque from which the call to prayer is given?
It's gone. Can't remember.
Minaret. Roy, the sacred Aboriginal rock Uluru is otherwise known as what?
Sears Rock.
Correct. Kate,
Bank.
where would a car with a GBG sticker be from?
Gibraltar.
Guernsey. Sue, what is the name of the singer Donny Osmond's sister?
Marie.
Correct. Helen, in sport, what do the letters IOC stand for?
International Olympic Council.
International Olympic Committee. Stuart, which animal in its winter coat is called an ermine?
The stoat.
Correct. Roy, in the TV series The Magic Roundabout, what kind of animal was Brian?
Snail.
Correct.
Bank.
In the human body, what is the common name for the clavicle?
The collarbone.
Correct. Sue, what American folk singer? Well banked, just in the nick of time. Right, you were aiming for 1,000. You hit 190. Who needs to be put out of their misery? One of you is about to leave with nothing. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
With the least correct answers, Helen is the weakest link statistically. Sue is the strongest link, as she answered the most questions right and banked the most money for the team. But will our players have picked up on those details?
OK, pens down, voting over. It's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Stuart.
Roy.
Stuart.
Roy.
Stuart.
Kate, why Stuart?
He got a lot of questions wrong and he didn't bank.
He only got one question wrong.
Well, he didn't bank and we did lose 100, I think.
Is he irritating you? Why are you laughing, Kate?
Just a little joke that we had before the show.
What was that, Kate?
I was going to vote him off and I told him I was going to vote him off.
Right, because he's annoying you?
Yes.
Stuart, with 3 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I don't think I should have been voted off. I only got a few wrong in the game. I think Kate took offence at the fact that I voted against her twice because we'd been getting on before the show, and I voted against her tactically because she dithered and wasn't very good, and she then, the minute I'd voted against her, started voting against me. I think it was maybe a little bit petty. I think in the next round it will be Roy who will be voted out, as in the last round it was only votes against him and I.
Round 6, you've won £1,840 out of a possible 5,000. We're cutting another 10 seconds from your time. We start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Sue. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Sue, which American folk singer had a backing group called Simply the Band?
I don't know.
Bob Dylan. Helen, what name is given to a triangle with 3 unequal sides?
Isosceles.
Scalene. Roy, what kind of pastime is bezique?
Card game.
Correct. Kate, what is a Geiger counter used to measure?
Radioactivity.
Radiation, I'll accept that. Sue, who led the miners' strike in 1984?
I don't know.
Arthur Scargill. Helen, who played the landlord Rigsby in the TV show Rising Damp?
Leonard Rossiter.
Correct. Roy, which good king ruled Bohemia in the 10th century?
Wenceslas.
Correct. Kate,
Bank.
where does a croupier work?
In a Gaming tables.
In a casino. Sue, which poem begins half a league, half a league, half a league onward?
2,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
The Charge of the Light Brigade. Helen, which female starred in the films What's Up, Doc and Yentl?
Barbara Streisand.
Correct. Roy, which tree is named from the belief that one of the apostles hanged himself from its branches?
Judas tree.
Correct. Kate.
Bank.
Name the Greek dip made from yogurt, cucumber and mint.
Rater.
Tatsiki. Sue, the winner of which major golf tournament is presented with the green jacket by the previous year's winner?
St Andrews.
US Masters. Helen, complete the title of this chart topper by Little Jimmy Osmond, long-haired lover from?
Liverpool.
Correct. Roy, what is the common name for the eggs of hair lice?
Nits.
Correct. Kate.
Bank.
What French term is used for the variety of pea eaten in its pod?
Pass.
Manche 2. Sue, the Coral Sea is in which ocean?
It's in the Australian, no, the Pacific Ocean.
Helen, who wrote the play An Inspector Calls?
Don't know.
J.B. Priestley. Roy, which British monarch reigned in both the 19th and 20th centuries? And another £1,000 target has passed you by. You won just £150 in that round. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Having answered none of her questions correctly, Sue is the weakest link statistically. Kate banked all the money won that round, and Roy was the strongest link with the most right answers. But how will the votes go?
OK, pens down, voting over. It's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Sue.
Kate.
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 Sue.
I'm in shock. I thought I was the weakest link. I'm amazed to still be here. But I thought Kate hesitated a little bit.
Yes, well, amazed you should be. It's a good job their arithmetic isn't that good. And nor is your geography, is it, Sue?
Not really, no.
How long have you thought that one of the 5 oceans was Australian Ocean?
I thought the corals were around Australia. I was thinking of the Barrier Reef.
Kate, you weren't the weakest link statistically, but you collected the votes. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
When Anne says goodbye, you just got to walk off and hold your head high, because I still think I did quite well. In the next round, I think Roy will be the one to go, because he doesn't always get the questions right and he doesn't bank at the right time, so he loses his money.
Round 7. Team, you have £1,990 out of the 6,000 you could have won. There are 3 of you left. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round, that's Roy. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Maori are Aboriginal people from which country, Roy?
New Zealand.
Correct. Sue, in food, what are Leicester, Wensleydale and Limeswold?
They're English cheeses.
Types of cheeses, correct. Helen, which singing sisters have the first names Bab, Joy and Teddy?
Beverly Sisters.
Correct. Roy, William
Bank.
Booth founded which religious organisation?
Salvation Army.
Correct. Sue, with which London street did singer Jerry Rafferty have a hit single?
Baker Street.
Correct. Helen, who played the president in the film Air Force One?
Lloyd Bridges.
Harrison Ford. Roy, what is the name of the female reproductive organ in which eggs are produced?
Ovaries.
Correct. Sue,
Bank.
Oscar Wilde is buried in which European capital city?
Rome.
Paris. Helen, which English castle was King Henry VIII buried at?
Leeds.
Windsor. Roy, what type of bird is used on the seal of the President of the United States?
Bald eagle.
Correct. Sue, which carry-on actor provided the voices for the TV cartoon Will-O-the-Wisp?
Sid James.
Kenneth Williams. Helen, which planet has a year equivalent to 687 Earth days?
Saturn.
Mars. Roy, the River Tamar forms the southern boundary between Devon and which other county?
Cornwall.
Correct. Sue, Lamas are teachers of which religion?
The Buddhist religion.
Correct. Helen, how many days are there in the last month of the Gregorian calendar?
28.
31. Roy, which British film centres on a group of male strippers in Sheffield?
The Python team.
The Full Monty. Sue,
Bank.
which country is the singer Nana Mouskouri from?
Greece.
Correct. Helen,
Bank.
in radio, what does AM stand for?
Don't know.
Amplitude modulation. Roy, what would you specifically call a native of Aberdeen?
Aberdonian.
Correct. Sue. OK, your time is up. There was £1,000 to be won. You banked just 140. Now, in round 8, you get the chance to treble what you bank. That means in the next round, there's £3,000 to be won. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
The statistics make Helen the weakest link with the most wrong answers and the most money lost for the team. Again, Roy is the strongest link with £100 banked and the most correct answers. But will the voting reflect the reality?
OK, pens down, voting over. It's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Helen.
Sue.
Sue.
Roy, why Sue?
It seems she didn't answer as many correctly as Helen did.
Well, actually, Helen had a very, very bad round. Didn't you, Helen?
Exceedingly bad round.
Why did you vote for Sue?
Sue didn't get as many wrong as I did. Roy
I think we're all aware of that, except Roy.
Well, obviously, Roy did very, very well. Hence my decision.
OK. And Sue, with 2 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I don't think I was the weakest link there. Helen was next to me. She was getting answers wrong. I was getting them right. I wasn't the weakest link. As Roy said my name, I just could not believe it. I thought, help, he's made a mistake. He's made a mistake. Helen got the questions wrong, not me. Why has he picked me? I think for the final round, I reckon Roy is probably going to win.
Round 8. Team, you've won £2,130 so far out of a possible £7,000. Roy, Helen, just the 2 of you left. You have just 90 seconds.
Ouch.
But whatever you win in this round will be trebled and added to your total to make up your final prize money. £3,000 is at stake in this round. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Roy. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Roy, who is John Major's son married to?
Pass.
Emma Noble. Helen, in nature, Madonna and Tiger are varieties of which flower?
Daisy.
A lily. Roy, in the comic, who was Superman's girlfriend?
Pass.
Lois Lane. Helen, what is Princess Alexander's married surname?
Pass.
Ogilvy. Roy, what scale is used as a measure of the acidity or alkalinity of a solution?
The pH scale.
Correct. Helen, what is the study of religion called?
Pass.
Theology. Roy, which actress was Laurence Olivier's second wife?
Littlewood. Joan Littlewood.
Vivian Lee. Helen, in which decade of the 20th century was Prime Minister Tony Blair born in?
40s.
1950s. Roy, what is the name of the rubber disc used in ice hockey?
Puck.
Correct. Helen,
Bank.
in the TV show, who played the original Dr. Kildare?
Richard Chamberlain.
Correct. Roy, in maths, what is 12 times 12?
144.
Correct.
Back.
Burgundy is a region in which European country?
France. Bank.
Correct. Roy, mohair comes from which animal?
Goat.
Correct. Helen,
Bank.
what is the name of the 9th month of the Muslim year in which they traditionally fast from dawn till dusk?
Ramadan.
Correct. Roy, which former general... Right, your time is up. You didn't make it to 1,000. You banked 120, despite Helen, you appearing to want to bank before and after the questions. Never mind, we'll treble that, and we'll add it to the winnings from the previous round. That means prize money today of £2,490. But of course, Helen, Roy, only one of you can take that money away. You'll be playing against each other head-to-head. I'll ask alternate questions. It is the best of 5, and whoever answers the most correctly wins. It is as simple as that. Let's play Weakest Link. Roy, as the strongest link in the last round, you have the choice of who goes first.
I'll go second.
Helen, you go first. You're playing for £2,490. And take your time. Helen, what animal is the symbol for the World Wildlife Fund?
A panda.
Correct. Roy, which Russian leader was famous for his policy of glasnost?
Gorbachev.
That is the correct answer. Helen, to take the lead. What word do the Americans use for what the English call autumn?
Fall.
That is the correct answer. Roy, to catch up with Helen. What does a cruciverbalist like to solve?
Crosswords.
That is the correct answer. Helen, answer this question correctly and you take the lead. In which Winter Olympic sport might one perform a Lutz?
Ice skating.
That is the correct answer. So, Roy, the song, The One That I Want, is from the soundtrack to which film?
Sound of Music.
The answer is Grease. Helen, which organ did Denise Darville donate to a Cape Town grocer in a pioneering operation in 1967?
Her heart.
That is the correct answer. Roy, you must answer this question correctly to stay in the game. Which crime organisation has a vow of silence known as Omerta?
The Mafia of Casa Nostra.
That is the correct answer. Helen, if you answer this question correctly, you go away with £2,490. The Scilly Isles are off the coast of which English county?
Cornwall.
That means, Helen, you are today's strongest link and you go away with £2,490. Roy, you leave with nothing. You've been watching The Weakest Link. Goodbye.
I was so nervous this morning. And I nearly pulled out last night when I was on the train. I thought, I just want to go home. And look at it now.
And we were clearly very, very evenly matched. In the final, it was her turn to get them right.
My knees are just knocking and I'm on overdrive. I can't explain how I feel. It's just euphoria. It's wonderful.